Sister Bliss and Maxi Jazz van Faithless. Hi guys. You just released a new album. It's called Outrospective. Does this mean that the previous albums were introspective?
Yeah. Particularly the last record that we made. I mean, we were in a new situation. We'd been on the road for 2 years. This hadn't happened before. And when we got back from 2 years of touring, we had to go straight into the studio and make another record. And what tends to happen is that your life gets literally turned upside down. And when we arrived in the studio to make Sunday 8 p.m, we were slightly upside down in that we were a bit burnt out.
I was back to front as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of in fact, everybody in the band's relationship was breaking up. And so that obviously you're going to invest all your emotions into your music. So if you're feeling pretty low, I mean, we'd go to the studio and everybody would have this really long face. You want to hear what she said to me on the telephone last night? Do you know what I mean? We were all into that. So, but with this album, obviously it's been 4 years now, not 2, and we're used to the rock and roll lifestyle, if you like, a little bit more. We're much more stable people. Plus, we had a year off, a full 12 months of just being normal and ordinary, and not getting up and jumping on buses and being in different countries every day. And I think by the time we got to make this record, we were just fresh and excited and ready to rock and roll, really.
Does it mean it is a happy record as well then?
Not necessarily.
No, I think it's a mixture, like all Faithless records, of melancholy and something in the human condition that is uplifting too. Our records are never 120% pessimistic. I just think the general sound of the album is more outward looking. On Sunday 8 p.m, we suppressed a lot of stuff within the music. You know, when we came to cut, for example, Bring My Family Back, Rollo made the engineer turn the drums right down. He just wanted everything to be tense and bubbling underneath. Yeah. But this time it's like, ta-da, we're here. That doesn't mean it's necessarily all, you know, incredibly happy, cheerful, cheesy music. That would never be Faithless. But I think it's strong. It's strong and upfront.
Now, in what way do you write songs? Because there are 3 of you, there's also Rollo. Do you write separately and then come together and say, well, I've got this, maybe you can change this or that? Or do you write the threesome songs?
It can be any one of 4 or 5 different ways. It'll either start with a chord change that Bliss is playing in the studio and Rollo goes, stop there, that's great, you know. Or it'll be a beat. A lot of times, the 2 of them will work together and make 4 or 5 tracks, backing tracks, basically just demo tracks. And I'll get them on a tape or a DAT, and I'll take them away and write some words. Sometimes I'll have a lyric that I've written that I really want to get out, and it's good. So it can happen from a lot of different places, because we each do different things. So I'll obviously come with words, and my girl will come with some music. It might be a beat that is just great, and they put music to it, and then they'll call me up and say, we've got this beat, Maxi, and we're going to call it Insomnia. Can you write anything for it? See you on Tuesday, you know, that kind of thing.
I only smoke weed when I need to, and I need to get some rest. Yo, where's my cess? I confess, I burned the hole in the mattress. Yes, yes, it was me. I plead guilty, and at the count of 3, I pull back my duvet and make my way to the refrigerator. 1 dry potato inside, no lie, not even bread. Jam when the lights above my head went. I can't sleep, something's all over me, greasy. Insomnia, please release me and let me dream about making mad love on the heath, tearing off tights with my teeth. But there's no relief, I'm wide awake and in my kitchen. It's black and I'm lonely. Oh, if I could only get some sleep. Creaky noises make my skin creep. I need to get some sleep. I can't get no sleep.
Do you write songs in order to become hit songs, or do you write songs that happen to become hit songs?
We write songs that express emotion and what we're feeling at the time. We had no idea that any of the music would become a big hit, and indeed it wasn't. Insomnia took a year to become successful, and it was the record that was probably the most casually made out of the whole album of Reverence. But we made an album because we enjoyed meeting each other, and we found that there was a lot we wanted to express that would take a whole album's worth of music to get out, you know. and really we've never made records to be hits. And in fact, I think our music's quite difficult. We were certainly told in the early days, oh, we can't put this on the radio because it's too slow, there's too much rap in it, or there's no hook, there's no chorus. I mean, every kind of bad mark you can get in the book of writing perfect pop songs we did, but we're very good at expressing ourselves over 8.5 minutes in particular.
I think that's what people, that's how come it happened. It happened in spite of radio. I mean, in a lot of ways you need radio if you're going to, or TV, a lot of exposure in order to make any sort of a hit. And we didn't get any sort of radio play at all, simply as Blissy said. But because we create an atmosphere, I mean, there's an atmosphere between, there's an old saying that if the vibe between the musicians is good before the instruments come out of the case, then the music is bound to be sweet. And we got on so well as people, and we sort of had the same sort of musical objectives, even though, you know, I'm a hip-hopper, my girl loves house music, Rollo's into classical stuff and lyrics. We're all coming from different, but we're all looking for the same end result, if you like, and that's what makes it work.
You are a DJ as well. Do you sometimes put some new songs on vinyl to play them and to see how people react, and then see, well, we'll put these tunes on the new album?
That's exactly what I do. Yes, the answer is yes.
Well spotted, that man.
Yes. It's a very important part of Faithless, I would say, especially with the house records. I get a real chance to road test them on the crowd, and really, what can I say? I think it would be maybe different records that we'd make if I wasn't in touch with the club scene. And literally with We Come One, we went in about 7-8 times, redid it. Oh, that bit's not loud enough. Or they don't really like the end. How can we make it perfect, you know? And so that was something that there was a lot of craft to it. Once we got the basic idea of the song, there's lots of different versions. That could have been the one, but then we found the one, you know. But it was my DJing that helped the whole Faithless process, you know, to make the best record we could. It couldn't have done it without the people in the discos. Bless them. They give me a reason to exist.
You've been DJing for quite a while. You were there at the beginning of the house scene, house music. You know all the house classics, the house anthems, but the kids what you play for now, most of the time they don't know them anymore. Do you adjust your set to that?
I do try and break a lot of new music, but I am the sort of person that has a great love of old house and stuff, and I do tend to drop some old records, you know, right at the end of the night maybe. But to be honest, you'd be surprised how literate people are. House music has a 12 to 15 year history now, and a lot of people who are just getting into it now, their older brothers and sisters may have had tapes with like Voodoo Ray on, or Strings of Life, or some of the seminal acid house tracks that started it all off. So there's quite a few literate people, and you often find people remixing or borrowing bits of old records and making them in a style that fits the DJs who play the sets that we listen to in the clubs now.
Very pertinent question, that, because I find that in the world of hip-hop, it's astonishing how many people who are actually making hip-hop now and actually doing quite well haven't got the first idea. Really haven't got the first idea. I mean, I drive and on tour buses and on trains and stuff through Europe, and I see better graffiti here than I would in America. Because I think that here, because we're so far away from it, from where it started, it's almost like your love for it is almost stronger than those people who can take it for granted, take it or leave it because it's right there on their doorstep all the time. You know?
Life, whether it be passion for dancing brilliantly or to go out fighting and be aggressive, the human energy is the same within everyone, and it's kind of your choice which way you direct it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, the video tended to concentrate not on the whole song, but on a part of the song that they wanted to amplify and highlight. And I think that the words were, I'm the left eye, you're the right. Would it not be madness to fight? Madness to fight. That's the video. You know, they're showing that first thing that you see is like some coppers, and you think, and the violence, and you think, what's all this about? And then you see some crazy dancing, and it's all cut up, and you realise, as Blissy says, that it's the same kind of energy to do like this. It's to go like this. And it's almost like, well, look, here's the good side and here's the bad side, you know what I mean? Your choice. And then at the end of the video, there's a scene where everybody's sort of chilled out, almost like they're tired from all their exertions. And in amongst all the ravers are policemen as well. So it's just this idea that, you know, I'm the left eye, you're the right. There's no point, simply because the left eye has a completely different perspective from the right, you know, completely different perspective. The two perspectives together make up the truth. Yeah, make up the truth of your vision. Do you see what I mean? If you've only got one eye, you can't catch anything because you've got no spatial awareness. So you need both perspectives. If you take that into human relationships, you need other people in order to make you a reality. Do you see what I mean? It's like if you got nobody coming to your gigs, you might be making the best music in the world. You're absolutely irrelevant. So it's about we need each other, and let's stop being suspicious.
Talking about gigs, you'll be on the TW in Werchter Festival this year again. Isn't it strange to perform at this kind of festivals, because sometimes you are after a rock act and after you comes another rock act, sometimes it's still light. Isn't it difficult to bring that kind of music across then?
Oh, it's better.
I think it's fantastic because Faithless isn't just one thing anyway. So when we come on, you have people who might have been there to see, say, the Manic Street Preachers, and then another lot who are seeing Limp Bizkit, and people don't really know what to expect, and we'll come on and do what we do with Faithless, which is provide a very dynamic, exciting, supercharged show that is tough yet groovy yet soulful, you know, and sometimes even quite rocky in some ways. And people don't even understand, but they respond to it completely, even if they think, God, this is a dance band? I thought that was just all banging club nonsense.
Exactly. I was in a cab coming back from the airport.
It's a challenge. It's
coming
the best
back
way
to
to
London,
play.
and the cab driver, I was with Zoe, actually, our new singer, and the cab driver recognised me, and he was saying that he's an old punk. He used to listen to The Clash and, you know, people like that back in the days. And he was at Glastonbury 3 years ago when we were playing, and he just happened to be in front of the stage with his mates having a beer when we came on. And he said, it completely blew my mind. And that's the thing I love the most about festivals. Because, as Blissy says, half of the people there aren't even there to see you. In fact, 80% of the people in front of you aren't there to see you. They're just there. Yeah. And so if you rock that crowd from front to back, you've made new friends that day. And it's like a challenge. You walk on, and there's a warm feeling when you're doing your own shows and you know everybody's there has come to see Faithless. It's like your sons and daughters have come and you want to embrace them all, you know. But it's different. At a festival, you go on like you're a boxer. Like, right, we've got 12 rounds. And I'm going to win. That's it. End of story. I refuse to lose. So you go on out there and you give it. And it's a great feeling when you get it all back at the end and you think, it's nice.
We came, we saw, we conquered.
And we had them.
Bene, bene, vidi, vici. Talking about the future, you will release a solo single as well, but you did it with the 70s folk singer. Why this not really obvious choice?
He's a genius, and I loved his album from when I was 17. This is a singer, John Martin, and I did a cover of a beloved song called Deliver Me, another record that I just loved, and it had never had the exposure it needed. But basically, I was driving around New Zealand listening to Solid Air, which is a seminal chill-out record he did in the 70s. And I just thought, God, I'd love to work with John Martin. And I rang Rollo in England and said, don't let me forget, let's work with John Martin. And he wrote it down on a piece of paper, forgot about it. And I came back a couple of months later and said, right, John Martin. He goes, oh yeah, rang the manager, and he was really up for working with us. And surprisingly, you know, we used Faithless as a calling card to say, well, it's the girl who plays keyboards in Faithless wants to make a record with you. And he was so up for it. I would have thought he would have just told me to get lost, but the whole thing was an entirely brilliant, positive experience. He's got a fantastic voice, and Maxi's a fan too.
Unbelievable voice. I used to listen to that same album myself when I was growing up, and we used to chill out in some pretty terrible ways actually to that record, I have to tell you. But yeah,
Abuse.
It's such a gorgeous record, and there's such feeling in his voice, you know. That
Solid Air. Island Records. That's
John Martin.
1977. John Martin with a
Get
Y.
it. Get it.
Martyn.
Help
Check it
yourself
out. Beautiful record. Need it.
You always release, after you release your album, a remix album as well. Will it be this time as well?
We don't actually know yet. Let's get the first draft out the way. I have to say, often a remix album is a great way to have people reinterpret your stuff and make the album fresh again when it's been around for a year. That's usually why people do remix albums. And to have a new reason to write about Faithless. And possibly that might happen. I just don't know yet. You know, often you have to regard we were on a very small label last time, and we do a remix album to help the album because it had very little promotion otherwise. This time round we've got this big, huge multinational corporation, and hopefully they seem to be wanting to please us. So who knows?
Thank you very much, and lots of success with the album. Sister Bliss, Maxi Jazz from Faithless.
This is the music factory.